So this is session 3 of 5, because we have a month of Sundays here for the Gauntlet Hangouts. We are playing Coriolis, the Third Horizon, which is, quote unquote, the Arabian Nights in space game from Free League, the Swedish publisher of Mutant Year Zero. This uses the same basic system. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, our online community of gaming, and you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. You can also check out my blog at ageofravens.blogspot.com. And before they say it, my Silver Annie award-winning blog at that thing, before they do that to me. So you can just check that out. We have lots of stuff there. So we're going to start coming off of the last session, and we're going to begin with our advancement. Players got experience points. When you get 5, you have some buys that you can do, either talents or skills. And so I want to check in with everybody about what they are purchasing. Patrick, what did you decide on?
So like I said last time, I think exposure to this tablet and mystical artifacts is ramping up his mystic powers. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go with a thing that is named Stalling Mindwalker.
Ooh, and what does that do precisely?
So Mindwalker, I can focus my thoughts on any person I've previously met and tap into their sensory input. I see what they hear, or I see what they see, hear, and feel, whatever, experience it, stuff. Right then, real time, regardless of where they are in the entirety of the Third Horizon. But I don't get any thoughts or emotions from them. So I get like the exact experience, but no personal context.
Interesting. That is very striking.
Yeah, and I see it definitely coming on as sort of a surprise and just a situation of, oh, I'm thinking about this person. Oh, crap, suddenly I'm seeing something weird and hearing weird stuff.
That's great. Yeah, that's useful. And because it's so useful, you'll be using it multiple times. And, of course, each use gives me a darkness point. So I am very happy that you took that.
Does it? I had forgotten that.
Yeah, each use of your powers gives me a darkness point. Hold on, let me take a sip of my delicious tears.
Sweet, sweet tears.
All right, Fraser. Tell me what you're thinking about.
I was thinking about increasing range combat or melee combat so that I become
badass.
More badass, and that maybe one day we don't get limited success.
Sure. Which would you prefer?
Do you think it seems more likely that we'd get into a shootout than melee combat, right?
That's depends.
Yeah.
Range combat is certainly louder. If you're trying to be quiet, melee combat is more effective that way because it gets you up closer.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that then.
Question: did the cybernetics they cost both XP and money, right?
The only thing that costs that extra is cybernetics.
Yeah, but I want that.
I know you want that.
That's why I was going to say maybe we wait and find out how much money we have before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does that?
So your payout from the 10% is 500 beer.
500
each?
500.
That seems like nothing.
Each.
Nice. Now I can wipe my ass.
You know, I could set up a nice loan for you.
Oh yeah, nice.
I do have a talent for that.
A nice loan for you.
Look, it'll only be mildly predatory. You want the cybernetics or not?
Yeah, I do. I want it.
So the cost of living, depending on how you're living, like let's take the actual midpoint, living a decent lifestyle, not scrunching down. A month living in not destitute area and not higher class area costs about 1,000 beer. So you've got essentially 2 weeks pay
Sweet
from.
Jesus.
Yeah. Things are pricey.
How much crime is there in this setting? Because it seems like it might be a lot.
There is a lot of crime, but you're also on a space station, at least here. But yeah, you guys could become pirates.
I was going to say, if there wasn't a lot of crime now, I think there will be.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on Coriolis, they're like, "Why is crime on the up? Who knows? Who knows what's happening?"
And there's another thing to tell you about the money. You have two sort of ways of getting that payout. Everybody has a personal biocoded transactor, which can only be used by you, and you can download credits to that. But some places won't take it. Some places don't have the tech to do that. And so everything else are called tags. And essentially it's like a card with a certain amount of money on it. So you've probably been paid in tags just to keep the transaction off the books, as it were, from IZDN. So with that $500, is melee combat still your choice there?
Yeah, because how much is cybernetics? Probably it's like $5,000, I think, right? For the thing that I wanted.
So you wanted those reflexes, right?
Yeah.
So accelerated reflex costs 7,000.
Yeah, I'll save up, I guess.
We don't have anything we can sell, do we?
Well, we've got a tablet.
Yeah, no.
No, don't want to sell that.
Body.
It's a priceless artifact. We'll just put a price on it.
Again, friendly predatory loans.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm being pursued, right? So probably setting up for a loan is not a good idea.
They ambush you when you go to sign the papers.
Yeah, I think it would be unwise. I'll just wait and save up the rest of my life.
Okay. What about you, Christo?
Remember, I was looking at the idea, if nobody was against it, of doing mystic powers.
Right.
So that means this time I would only be able. And my first question was going to be: A, is everybody okay with that? Because if not, I can go in an entirely different arc. That's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, though, is I'd only be able to buy the skill this time around, and I was wondering, what does that actually get me? Because there's got to be some mechanical benefit to just having the skill.
You can recognize mystic effects.
Yeah. So you need at least a skill to buy the powers, and let's see how it defines those mystic power skills.
And I didn't remember Mindwalker being in there. Is that from a supplement or something?
No, that's in there.
Oh, is it? That's cool. You're a rider. You're gonna go riding.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the mystic powers skill is just used for mystic powers.
But so, if somebody tries to use a mystic power on me, does it get
Exciting.
defense?
No, I think they're. Well, I'll have to check what the resist is. I think mystic powers kind of just activate.
Yeah, most of them don't list a resistance. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's somewhere else in the system.
It's like Mutineer Zero. When you activate a mutation in that, it just happens. But I get a darkness point, so that's essentially the cost there. And I have to use darkness point to activate mystic powers against you. So.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, I'll take it. It seems strange that it doesn't do anything but that, but I'll take it.
I think it's definitely done to make it a more of a challenge to buy later on. I mean, it's much like cybernetics and bionic sculpts have barrier with cost. I think that skill requirement is a barrier there. Sherry, what are you thinking about for your character?
I recognize the sort of tasks that I am set to by my fellow teammates, and I have taken infiltration, so I'll have a chance of surviving.
Okay. And remind me now, Kieran, what was your trouble again?
Do we really need to go into that?
Yes, we do.
She's a social climber with a jealous fiance.
Okay. And remind me, Yelchin, what your trouble is? Is it the drinking?
Yeah, how could you forget?
Okay. And Kef, it is that you're being pursued, right?
Well, yeah, I have a dark secret that could turn everyone against me.
All right. And then Ghazi, you're being pursued.
Yes, zealous icon believers who know about my powers and maybe more.
Okay, let's see. So I'll move from the Coriolis station map. I'll actually screen share that for a second here. So,
Can I say one thing? That
Yes.
I'm thinking about. I thought it was sort of strange that on the sheet for that archetype, there's for the pilot or for the archaeologist that alcoholism is basically built in as a problem. That's like one of 3 choices, and I'm actually okay with that, like playing that out. But I just wanted, since this is an AP and going to be posted, and even though we're laughing a lot and sort of jiving at this, I wanted to point out that I actually have one alcoholic in my family, and I have people with drug addictions in my family. So I may be sort of making light of it here, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize the implications and the consequences and have other feelings about that. So
I think that's a really good point. Likewise, on my family. So I recognize that. It is a thing we sometimes forget when we hit those real world things. It's actually why I steer away a lot from the troubles that involve like mental illness and things. And I think it's always good to point those issues out at the table.
Yeah, I was thinking too. I was reading the book last night again to get to sleep, which worked very well. Some of the drugs are a little bit even cooler than alcoholism, cooler in quotations. Like the Tamar thing might be more interesting because then you're more rooted in the culture, and it's more like the drug is really potent, and it's like they said in the book that it's something that you can take from shisha, or some people will actually inject it into them. And so I don't know, if you wanted to switch it up, you could if you wanted to. There from reading last night, there are many drugs in this game.
Yeah.
I got that, but I'm okay with that because I was already picturing Yelchin having built a still in his his cabin.
Okay. Sure.
Yes, one of the things about every single like space sci-fi game I've ever read is there is always an extensive list of drugs. It's a weird trope dating all the way back to Traveller. So
that's probably why everyone's like, "Woo, Traveller!" I was just gonna say because I mean, then we could eat and we could have a hookah. I'm
sure you have a hookah on the ship. So.
Okay, well then in that
Somebody
case,
has to clean it.
I don't really care what Yelchin does. Then just kidding. As long as I have a hookah.
Yeah, and we can talk about what that looks like. So we take up this session with the group, kind of talking about what you want to do. You're probably staying at facilities close by your ship, but I believe you also noted that there are people watching your berth right now. Essentially, people from that Syndicate gang have been sent to kind of keep an eye out, not interfere, but to just keep an eye out on you. So you don't know exactly what the status of that is, and you haven't really given a yes or definite no to Izzy Dien, and you haven't really talked financials about that. Does that seem like I'm accurately summing things up?
I think so. Yeah, we faded out on the person being like sneakily reporting us or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Is it possible that I could just save up my XP and then when I really need I go to do something, I can just put a point into it?
That is fine with me. Absolutely. The only point at which you have to spend is when you hit your 10th XP.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's the way I run it. The game has you that you have to do it right away, but I don't care. Do it when you want to do it. Emergent. So I'll assume that you guys are probably still in the Neoptra spaceport. That area of that, it is where the fine docking goes on. And it's probably kind of a treat for you because sometimes you have to actually go to what is called the net outside, which essentially is the old framework of the Zenith vessel, which is kind of decaying, and they have all kinds of docking spaceport things attached out there, and it's a real kind of stuffed into small compartments, and you have to shuttle around to get to places, and it's a kind of a nasty, brood, cold, dark of space area. So being able to dock here in Coriolis Station and have it paid for is a real treat.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what the net was when I was reading through.
Yeah. Picture that they've rebuilt the old Zenith ship. It was a massive generation colony ship, and most of that has become Coriolis Station, with the middle and the spire, and then the down below. But then attached nearby is essentially this framework, like a whole set of space docks and things, like the old falling apart, just infrastructure for the ship that they've rewired to serve as just where they drop off freight. Spaceport people pay the lowest prices to live in little capsule things there while their ships are getting refueled.
Okay, that's cool. That's a really interesting sort of juxtaposition with this like bright shining Coriolis and the sort of like rusted hulk of a car in your front yard that's around it.
Yeah, there are probably people who've come to Coriolis multiple times, pilots, but have never actually stepped foot on the station. They've just stayed on their ship, or they've had to go and live in one of the little conapps that are there. So what is your next step then? Gazi, you're kind of the captain. And when I say kind of, I mean you are the captain. It is your ship. You know that the Syndicate is there. You know that you have this map to this treasure. You know that another part of it is on Algol. But you also know that Isdien has offered you a significant job, though the pay is uncertain right now. And you don't want to stay here any longer than you have to.
So I think maybe this is the next day, and I've had a weird night in between. I think this is like the artifact starting to affect me some. I've had weird dreams, maybe like tapped into strange visuals from the other crew members' dreams, sort of thing. I don't really understand or gain any knowledge, but it was just a very distressing night.
Let me ask you a question about that before we move on. Do you think that as a mystic, you would recognize that transformation in Yelchin?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe as he like picks up the skill and his mind or spirit or whatever starts to stretch and change, like something of that would show up.
Okay.
That makes it sound so pleasant. My mind just stretch and change.
I don't know. I think is maybe something in the eyes.
What do you think, Yelchin?
As compared to being bloodshot? Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, we can come back and check in on that if we want to do a scene on that later.
And I guess the question is, do we as a crew know that you have mystic powers?
I think we said something about that. I think that they do, but they don't know the exact nature. At the very least.
Yeah, you know a lot about it. I think the other two definitely know that I'm hunted and maybe like weird luck, strange coincidences sort of situations, but I haven't explicitly come out and said, like, hey, I was experimented on by the government and now I can do weird stuff. See, he totally didn't do that thing I thought about him not doing. Magic.
Magic.
A skeptic would say, yeah, but that's just chance, right?
So then, Patrick, I interrupted you, and I apologize for that. But
so yeah, I will lay it out to like what do people feel more engaged with? What do people feel like we would be better suited to? There's the going after the sun, which is, I mean, potentially just sneak into a dorm house or like a frat house in the middle of the night, drug him and steal him away. Like, it could be that easy, but it could be descending into a messy political, ideological, potentially terrorist / standoff situation. Alternatively, it's, archaeologists and their competing goals and secret sort of ambitions and lost temples and finding the other part of this artifact, which probably doesn't do anything distressing at all.
When you put it that way, the choices are both so pleasant.
I see only the best outcomes.
I suggest that we go for a fairly likely payout first in order to fund our wild scheme out to the hinterlands for this tablet.
Isidian does seem like a good contact. He's been surprisingly straightforward and honest with us thus far.
Have you all been looking at the star map, though, where they want us to go? We have two routes to get there, to go after this kid. We're either going to, we either have to go through some unstable portals, or we have to go through a dangerous area. So, if we're going to do this, we definitely need to renegotiate.
Yeah, we hadn't quite come down to the level of accepting in contracts, but you say it'll be problematic? I don't really pay attention to courses much. It's just sort of we get there. You pay someone to get there.
That's because you've been relying on me this time.
Oh, well, don't I pay you to get us there?
I don't know. Do you pay me?
That is an issue that'll have to come up with the contract negotiations. Thank you. I'll consider that.
Kev, you've been quiet through this.
Maybe we could get like, I don't know, $7,000. 7,000 per might do it, I think.
Look, I know a guy you could talk to if you really need the money.
I think we could just get it for this job instead. I've got some noodles putting in my face.
All right, well, no, it's smart. The going after the kid is smart. It's a good job. It should be fairly easy. And that'll get us some money and a backer with more money who appreciates us.
You said
Gold
plus,
Shan, that's the kid.
You said plus expenses too, I think, too, right? No, I'm pretty. Did he not say that during the meal?
I don't believe that any money has been discussed.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's good. Okay, so 7,000 each sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, apparently we're going to get 5,000 each just for picking up a rock, so... The kid's like 5 times bigger than a rock at least.
Exactly.
You are going to ask for an advance, right?
We'll see how the lawyer with the laser sword feels about advances on cash.
How about we cut to the four of you meeting? This time he would offer that you to meet you in a meeting space up on the spire. not one of the high levels, but essentially like level 9 or 10. And he would have a private set of chambers secured that you could speak with him about the matter. Does that seem fair?
More expensive free meal, you said?
And to get up the spire, you have to take elevators up. I mean, it's 200 floors up. The higher you get, the more elite it is. You take these elevators. If you have to go higher, they're staged. So you have got to change elevators at different levels. But of course, the super wealthy have hover chairs and things to get up around that.
Nice. The elevators get like progressively nicer as we have to change over.
Absolutely. But he has a private meeting room, low table, seating cushions. He has a modest, for him, but very nice for you, spread on the table. And he will meet up with you there. And I'll talk about that communication thing in a second, Christo. But he has the tablets and the legal notices and things like that, and he invites you all to sit. Again, he can tell he has some kind of sensor web, but doesn't seem to have the visual inputs. So he'll have you sit down, and I hope you considered my offer.
Yes, I've talked it over with my crew. They agree that this is an important work to see a family brought back together, to see stability brought back into your life. We do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would appreciate it if, in your own words, you could just lay out the problem again for my companions so that everyone's on the same page.
Absolutely. And this is somewhat embarrassing, so I hope to have your discretion in these matters. My son, Goshan, has been involved with Zenithian supremacists, a political matter, something I strongly disagree with. But it has been mostly antics, writing and propaganda, that kind of thing that I hope will be a phase that he would go through. But this group, the Breakers of Chains, has had some new blood that have encouraged a more active policy. My son clearly took off with some of these people, headed, as far as I could tell, to Debaran, which is a significant journey. And I have not heard from him, nor have I heard from the agent that I sent to follow and keep an eye on him and bring him back. And given the time that has passed, I am very nervous. The agitator within the organization is named Baltabek. And then my agent that I said his name is Ralph Domaz. I would like you to go to Debaran. I will pay for your portal passage. I will arrange high priority passage there and back. I have some pull there, so I can get you in the queue quickly. And that will make it easier for you to come and go. I would like you to find my son and bring him back here forcibly if necessary. I would also like, if it proves possible, for you to find out what has happened to Ralph Domaz. I would like that information. And if he is in a dangerous situation that he can be extricated from, I would pay for that operation as well.
And What can you tell us about Mr. Damaz's skill level, expertise, his position for you previously?
He has previously worked with the Coriolis Guard. He has been a landing specialist, and then he served for a number of years in security positions on ships. I consider him skilled. He is not a spy per se, more of a bodyguard. So that was how I would describe his skill set.
And I assume in here is information about financial or communication channels he would have used, regular resources that he might have gone to.
Well, of course, once you get to Dabaran, the whole thing shakes out. There's no inter-system communications for financials because, of course, here he's going to be the exposition. He'll say, as you know, to send a message to another system, you actually have to put it into a beam or transmission, and then has to go along with a ship to go to the next system, and then it gets beamed from there. So things are significantly delayed in terms of communications. And so Dabaran operates on its own network. So I don't know what contacts he would have there.
Okay. And before this Breakers of Chains group got involved with things, you said that your son had already been in a sort of philosophical malcontent club.
That is the Breakers of Chains. They had merely been agitators.
Okay.
But I think they've moved to, based on this Baltabek's pushing, have moved to perhaps actual action, which, given that Dabaran is a first-comer planet, makes me nervous.
What was the general gist of their discontent?
That the Zenithians deserve to rule over all of the systems. That the usual, and he kind of pauses. He clearly doesn't want to discuss this. The usual Zenithian supremacist
Manifest
ideologies.
destiny bullshit. Yes, yes.
Exactly. You understand. You've been around. But
I've been around.
yes. I sense some hesitation from, and it kind of turns to the rest of your crew.
I think Yelchin is very occupied drinking.
Okay.
Either Kef or Kieran speak up.
Let me send for another bottle. Hold on.
Yeah, what does Kieran think?
I mean, she's just kind of listening, and she goes, "How serious do you think the escalation in agenda is with the Breakers of Chains since that Baltabek's joined? I mean, are we talking terrorist actions, or is he some sort of turncoat?"
I don't know. But if they've charted to go that far away to a first-comer planet, no good can come of that.
And one thing, I think Yelchin will sort of turn a bleary eye at this point to the conversation and say, "You're not mentioning one thing. What is their level of control in the system? How are they just a small group nobody's aware of out there? Or are they in control?"
Oh, the Breakers of Chains?
Mm-hmm.
They're one of 100 minor political revolutionary sects that operate in the Kua system. I thought it was merely like a very unpleasant club.
But what are they? You're missing it. What are they Underbaron?
I don't think that.
They have links.
Oh God, no! It's a first comer planet. I don't think they have any connection there. By the icons, I don't know. That's what makes me nervous. Is this is not a place where they should go?
Right.
I mean, there are Zenithian industries there, but this is an old planet.
What a little out of character is, so we would be getting 20K for this, right? Is that normal? Is that fair?
Wait, where did you hear 20K?
Total, right? Because we got 10% up front, which was 500 each.
So
no, the 10% was from the tablet job that we had set up before the game started.
Yeah, so
okay.
I was like, okay, wait a second, Fraser.
Okay, so 20K8, that's fair.
I was gonna say we need to like capture these negotiations. I think.
Yeah. Okay, so we haven't discussed the payment at all with this person.
Correct.
Okay. So do you know, like out of character knowledge for us, like what is a normal amount for this kind of job?
It's certainly paying for your passage,
Which is a lot.
which is a chunk. Given that each jump can be 1,000 to 2,000 to pay for that for portal jumping.
Well, the tablet job was obviously set to be like 5,000 per for a payout.
Yeah.
Was that a good payday, or was that like
that was a good
medium
payday?
job?
This is a comparable job.
Comparable. Sounds like we need 7,000 each, probably.
But you could certainly negotiate.
I'll say I think the hesitation you feel, obviously we feel a lot of gratitude towards you, and we appreciate the way that our relationship has gone thus far, but matters of ideology, matters of Zenithian supremacy, they obviously can get rather messy, rather loud, and
Absolutely, and as I understand it, you would prefer not to have things be loud, Ghazi.
quiet. Quiet is how I try to live my life, certainly. I'm just trying to make sure that we're preparing for all potential outcomes, all potential dangers and costs of this mission.
Let me make you an offer then, if I may. I'll put that on the table, and you may decide, you may speak about it. I would offer you 5,000 per person. It's comparable to your last mission. Similar arrive, investigate, retrieve mission. I would pay you half of that up front and half upon delivery. I would pay an additional 2,000 if you bring information about Domaz.
I agree, certainly, that... Oh, go.
As well. I know that you will, when you return, wish to leave the Coriolis system quickly.
There are many other places to be out in the horizon.
I will pay for your portal passage to whatever planet you wish to go to after that.
The level of involvement and danger for the job does seem like it could be fairly comparable to our last one. The item that we certainly haven't mentioned was in a place that was similarly unmentionable, but rather complicated. My only concern with this one is, of course, matters of discretion and matters of politics are not so said and done as moving a rock from one planet to another. I simply fear that in the future, issues of this may come up, that we may be required to continue our discretion and careful dissemination of information about this.
I think we're going to move to a manipulation role here.
All right.
I'm
have
going to
an
give.
information. I'll help.
Okay.
Nice.
And Kev, how do you assist?
Maybe I fluster him a little bit. Like at the same time Ghazi is speaking, I'm also speaking to him about something. So he's like, yeah, just unbalancing him.
Okay. I will give you an extra die from Kev's assistance. I will also say,
just through this whole negotiation, just make him constantly have to order more food and drink from people.
yes. But I also think that because of your positioning, you're going to get an extra die for that.
Nice. He really wants to keep this quiet.
There are a number of reasons here.
That wasn't as comforting as you may have thought it was, Lowell.
I don't think it was intended to be comforting at all.
That makes sense.
Please roll.
I tried. Did it do anything?
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
It was not good. 3, 6, 8 dice, 0. Yeah, one of them a 1 too. Rough.
Ghazi, did you
You should
pray
try
to the
re-rolling.
icons?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna redo that, and we'll stick with the merchant that does this sort of thing, isn't it?
Yep. And so
That's
if you
my
prayed
guy.
at your own ship's chapel, if you'd done that, it would get 2 dice instead of 1 as your bonus.
Gosh, I'm just stacking up all sorts of bonus dice. How could I lose? Let's see.
Wow, that's not good at all.
That is shocking.
3, 6, 9 dice, 0. That's rough. You can't
This
roll
guy,
this guy.
is a legalist. He's a legalist-executor. He has been in hundreds of negotiations. And while he indulges you and lets you spin out and do your spiel and he orders more food and all of that, this character, Izadian, finally says, you have, if you do not wish to take this job, I will go to another group. I came to you because we had a relationship and because your patron spoke highly of you. But for me, time is a pressing issue now. So I've laid my offer on the table. I think it is more than fair. If you wish to take that, then we will make those arrangements and finish out this meal. Otherwise, we'll depart with no recriminations.
And I think what hits me is that like cold look in his eyes that I finally place as someone who is looking you up and down and monetizing every molecule in your body to see exactly how much trouble you're worth.
Yeah. Because he's not looking at you, because he can't see you physically, he's listening to every intonation. And when he looks at you, you see those black stone eyes in the
I'd
sockets.
forgotten about his creepy mecha eyeballs.
Not mecha, they're just stone.
MECCA.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
It sort of stammers slowly downwards of like, but there's well, this really is a very fair contract, it looks like, and of course our relationship is what we're working on here more than this one particular job. He keeps looking at me.
All right then. So if you accept, I will hand you each 2,500 beer.
Can you have like those? Did everyone see Blade Runner 2049 with Wallace? The main guy is blind, but he hooks up this thing behind his ear, and then these like really creepy drone things that are like maybe this big.
Oh, that's right.
Float up, and he sort of like scans everybody, and they like freak people out and go up to their face and stare at them and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
is
horrifying.
not quite so mechanical as that. We'll say so. We have an agreement.
Yes, we have
Excellent.
an agreement.
And he will, has a folio there, so you can reach over, and he pulls out 4 envelopes that he will pass over to each of you. That is 2,500 beer, as well as a 500 beer bonus payment for having accepted the job in a timely fashion. And you are the pilot, correct, Mr. Yelshin?
Huh? Yeah. I'm the pilot.
Well, I'll just give the fly coordinates and portal details to your captain then.
Yeah, go ahead. And he'll wave over the waiter for another expensive bottle of Alga and tears.
Okay. What's your reaction to all of this, Kieran?
She's sort of watching her compatriots kind of negotiate the money and not really pay attention to what they're getting set up for in a lot of ways. To her, she's looking at it and she's going, okay, so we're essentially storming either a terrorist cell or we're trying to stop some, this group of kids being martyred to the sentiment. And she's like, we're going to have to go buy weapons and infiltration gear. That's what she's thinking. So she's just kind of sitting here going.
But did he say it would cover expenses, or is this just a flat fee?
Oh, he said nothing about expenses.
And she is an accountant. Yes. So I think that's it. Is she's just sort of watching and kind of making a list of the things that they're going to need in order to survive.
We just find the kid and send me in, I just bring him to the ship, no big deal, it'll all work out.
Yeah, that never ends messily and terribly, never at all.
Particularly when they're willing to die for it. So, that's...
It'll be fine.
Your communicator goes off.
Okay. Yeah. I check it.
And you will recognize the name on it.
And I answer and I say, Yelvy.
When precisely were going to tell me that you had arrived on Coriolis Station?
She sort of stops and says, when my assignment was done and I had time of my own.
Well, my schedule is tight. So, I need you here within the hour.
It's most fortunate that we have just made those arrangements. I will see what I can do. Where will I be meeting you?
Well, I need you to come
darling?
up. I need you to come up to level 33. There is a gathering. I need you well dressed to impress.
And she goes, of course, Shelby, I'll make my way down.
Don't bring any of your scofflaw associates.
There would be no need. They also will be, and she's very careful. She makes sure that she gets in there that she'll be making her way down to level 33, if that makes any sense.
He notes that and will hang up.
Oh, I like that. Sassy.
So let me ask you this. This is an interesting question, Kieran. When you guys have these communicators, so they're clearly not implants, so I assume the others in your party overhear this conversation?
On the contrary, my comm is an implant. My stuff is all cyber. I mean, that's the thing. It's just I've had a lot of money invested in me. So yes, they don't hear that. You just see her eyebrows go up and her face get incredibly snarky looking. Whereas usually she's, pleasant and neutral. So it's that kind of like her eyebrows set and her nose wrinkles. And then she'll stand up and say, well, I have to go. It would be good if someone looked into how much it would cost for us to get some things to, I don't know, knock people out. Tear gas, even.
At that point, EasyJet says, you're in the planning stages, so I will depart. I will leave a small credit tab on the room.
Oh dear, I seem to have left my plausible deniability in the oven. Excuse
me. He will depart. Captain, it's a pleasure.
As always.
Always. And he will head out.
Is it actually possible that I can sell a kidney though to get some?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say that you could sell a kidney.
Yeah.
You're a healthy male. I would say that you would reduce your strength by 1 for a period of time.
Look, I can really get you a loan. It's I'm not making it up. You don't have to sell off body parts. Maybe, probably, as long as you pay it back quickly.
And there's another thing. Did he specify what the tab was? How much?
Probably what'll happen is you guys will order some stuff and eventually it'll go tab.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll reach your limit.
So I think Yelchin's going to be busily ordering like the most expensive things we can get in bottle form that we can take with us.
And then you'll hit that ding pretty soon.
Yeah,
Clearly.
Exactly. Yeah. 1 bottle of champagne and it's over.
You can get some hummus as well with that. So that's it.
And I just one more thing there, Lowell. I'd like as we're sort of like Yelchin is spending out our tab and we're wrapping up this meal and sort of Kieran is bringing up uncomfortable questions. I think I'm thinking really hard about Rahani there, and I'd like to fire off my Mindwalker thing.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be at all fruitful. I just think it's an interesting time for it.
Let's have you roll.
Rahani?
That's his first name, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names. Yes. Oh, no. Get rid of my lovely -4 mod. Why did it go to a 16? I have plus 16 dice on this. No. Let's see. Oh my fuck.
Oh my gosh. You're not doing so good.
What are the chances this could happen 4 times in a row? He asks, re-rolling.
Would you like to re-roll?
670.
Yes, I'd like to fucking stupid re-roll. I got a 1!
All right, I'll just take my 2 darkness points for that.
You're ransom.
So you follow him for a bit as he does head up just a few levels. He's not on the higher tiers, and he is you can see him go takes a standard elevator, and he will head into his apartments there, housing. There's no one else there, and there is that thing where this is very much fitted to his sort of Spartan lifestyle, and there is a moment that will probably creep you out, because you can kind of feel his. What do you feel from him? Is it just visual, or is it what else is there?
See, hear, and feel what he's feeling, as in physically feel.
So one of the things is the second that you get into his body, you realize how much those eye sockets burn. Just a constant low-level pain. And when he gets upstairs to his chambers, he actually removes those and puts them down. And he has like a kind of a covering that does a cooling thing there. And he goes to pray. It's you expected a more luxurious place, but he goes to pray, and then he goes over and to his office / desk and starts to play out auditory, essentially text to speech translations. And he has all of these things he has to be doing, all of these business things, all of these contracts he needs to follow up on, and he will set to that.
So yeah, I think at the table, like, there's a lot about his life that's disturbing. At the table, Ghazi has like sort of darker brown eyes, but I think as y'all are sitting there like talking and eating, his eyes like lighten to more and more of like a burnished golden brown, and then it like spills out of his iris to fill his whole eyes. They turn this like golden brown color, and he's just still there for a moment before I think he just turns to the side and begins throwing up.
This beautiful meal. Yes,
it was lovely the first time.
Why don't you go to the washroom?
You say snarkily as I'm throwing up.
You will see there is a like a light that will come on, that like a servant sensor to sense that there has been a mishap in the room, to send for like a cleaning person to come here and clean up your sick.
Wow, you made a person come, not even a Roomba.
Well, we are in a fancy restaurant. I'll just say his eyes. Oh God, his eyes. Oh, it was really unpleasant. Burning, and then he reached in and took them out, and oh God, he took out my eyes.
Heffens is looking at the sick and looking disapprovingly at you.
All right, let me cut from that. What I want to do is do a scene with Kieran, and then I want to check in with Yelchin and then Kef. And also, if you want to think about what you might want to buy, you've got essentially three grand in your hands. Is there anything that you want to buy, weapon or gear, or anything like that? So, Kieran, do you have like outfits on hand?
All of her clothing is exquisite, and so she would have also been dressed to meet this legalist guy. So she probably looks, how should we say, business exquisite right now. And since yeah,
Absolutely.
Make any sense?
So you will go up, and it is a fancy gathering here. Lots of senior Zenithian family members and that kind of thing. And your fiance is waiting there for you, and seems super grumpy, maybe grumpier than normal.
Really?
Yes.
It's okay. Essentially, I go to join him. I give him the loving look that we are required to do so that everyone can see that we are a fine match. I lean in. I say, so good to see you. And then she's a little bit closer. And she says, are you okay?
That is neither here nor there. And he begins to mingle with you on his arm.
All right.
Let me have you make what do you think this is? Is this like a culture roll, or is this manipulation? What do you think it is to impress and not create additional problems here?
It could be either, in the sense of, it probably is culture in that it is outward facing more than dealing with him at this moment.
Okay.
He's indicated that's not what he's interested in. So I will give that a try. I have no idea what I just It's a limited success.
Okay. Are you happy with that?
Do I want to give you a darkness point for this?
I don't know. Do you?
No, I think that in fact the limited success would work just because he's so off his game right now that it kind of makes sense that that's what's going on. Is there's some sort of weird tension, and he's acting in ways that she doesn't expect him to.
And he does that thing where kind of have to put up with it, where he's very much sort of negging you to make himself feel bigger. And that's sort of the slight cost that you have to put up with, is that long-term unpleasantness during this interaction. And you will get finished with that. I will maybe realize that he's been a terrible person. Do you think that, what is he like? Would he apologize, or would he simply double down on it, or something else?
I think he switches into a thing where he tries to get around to apologizing but can't quite. And she sort of will do the thing of, it's going to make it harder for you. You know, essentially like she's trying to be on his side, but that actually makes it even worse because he realizes that he sort of sabotaged himself and her when he did it.
Well, we need to get you a better dress for next time. I'll put some money in your account for that. You should use it for that. All right.
I'll confer with you on the choice. I'm sure you'll make the best selection.
Yes. What's in style now? Yes. And he will depart. Yelchin.
Yes.
Are you giving all your money to Kef?
Trying. He seems, for some reason, Kef seems reluctant to take my money.
I don't know.
What is that? What is that scene like?
This is probably, were we potentially walking back to the ship? I guess maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
And so I guess, and Yelchin might be like sort of like in the drunken, way, like leaning on Kef and friendly, holding with his arm around his shoulder, and breathing alcohol fumes into him and saying, I know you want it. You wanted this money for a long time to get this. This is our chance. You can get it, and it'll help us. Don't worry about it. It's just money.
Yeah, I wonder why I wouldn't take money from a drunk person. Like, yeah, okay, buddy. And then also maybe I cover your mouth, especially if Gauzy's with us, so you stop talking about giving people 2,500.
Yes.
Because I'm saying it a little too loudly.
In the high levels, they're probably like 2,500. That's like yesterday's salary or whatever. But as we get lower and lower, it's a much bigger deal.
Yeah. Especially once you get to the docks in the stevedore area, and if people hear you talking that way. So after that, once you've kind of split and you still have your money, Yelchin, is there anything that you want to do?
So he didn't take my money? Okay. Anything I want to do? Well, let's see. Yelchin's been drinking. So I think Yelchin's probably going to go to a bar if he's got time.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't particularly have to play into that. I imagine we could just have him going into a brightly lit bar with dancing and whatnot, and then segue next day. He's back in the ship, collapsed on the bed.
That sounds good to me. I won't darkness point cause you trouble there, but since you're doing it to yourself, maybe a little bit of regret. Do you remember offering all that money to Kef?
Yeah, and I remember him not taking it. And
Yeah.
that's probably what made him that hurt more. That was like a knife in the guilt, like just twisting a little bit. And so that's so it's all your fault, Kef. You get that? You get that?
Yeah, I get it.
Kef, do you want to spend any of this money?
So how much money would I get for the kidney though?
So I would say that you could get 3,500 for your kidney.
Oh man.
Lower your strength by 1 for a couple of sessions.
A couple of sessions, huh? Nah, I'll wait then.
Okay.
I'll get it after the job, maybe, or something.
Sure. Do you want to buy anything? Weapons or armor or anything?
Let's see, what do I have? I have a cricket.
Okay, which is a nice basic weapon.
I've got the knife that I took off the person who tried to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a modulation mask, fake identities, security tablet, and a proximity sensor, and my cool tiny communicator behind my ear.
Yeah, so that's
mechanical lockpick. Do you think I'd need anything else?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on if you wanted. You have protective clothing?
Oh, like armor and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe armor would be wise. How much is armor?
Well, let's take a look here and see how much that is, so I can bleed your. So I can get you safe.
Yeah, great.
Just a little. Let's see. There's that. Survival suits, tools and repairs. It's one of those games with lots of tables for that kind of thing.
Yep.
Of course, none of them, as you pointed out, on the same page as the discussion of them.
Not even fucking close.
So protective clothing. Okay. Protective clothing. 1,000 beer.
Okay, and that's like one armor or whatever.
That's actually armor 3.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that would probably be wise.
Okay. And essentially, that's that kind of reactive material underlay. So it looks like standard clothing. It's a little bit bulkier, so people will know that you are armored. But it's not too out of place. It's the kind of thing that when you get hit, it will solidify to absorb the impact. That kind of thing.
Cool. So I put rating 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I have $50 left. Let's see. Yeah, that should be good then.
Okay.
I wonder, should I take yeah, I guess I'll spend the XP when I need it, but I might decide between a skill versus taking the combat veteran talent.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it gives me 2 dice and choose the best one for initiative.
What else did you buy besides the protective clothing?
The communicator. The tiny one.
Anyway.
So nobody knows.
But you got a total of 3,000 from EZDN. So you have that on hand.
Oh, I didn't mark any of that yet.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, I was real confused.
And finally, Ghazi, anything that you want to do here?
Yeah, I am gonna ignore the creepy way that Rahani kept saying my name and stuff about my past and implying all sorts of things there. But I do want to dig into Baltbeck
Okay.
while we're here and have the resources of Coriolis.
Right. So the impression you got before was that he was an outside plant, an outside agitator. So you want to dig further on that?
Yeah, because they originally had their center somewhere in the system, right?
They have been active on Coriolis itself. So yeah, you can try and follow that.
Cool. So yeah, I'd like to try and track back any information about him.
That's going to be a data gen roll.
All right. Yeah, I don't have anything in particular to help with that, but you roll, do things. I quit. This game, man, it hates me. All right.
Reroll?
Of course I do. We have the option to reroll, and I rolled terribly. I got a 1.
The op he did is textbook. It's based on your knowledge of how the government does these things. Not government though. You suspect probably private organization, maybe one of the corporations, or maybe the consortium itself.
So you say like the government does, you mean like a sting? Like they were trying to radicalize this group and set them up to be taken down? Or
yeah, you would expect the government does it for that. They're clearly this guy is clearly using these people as a cat's paw,
he's gone past the point where he would have taken them down if that was the thing.
Right. You think that there are some corporate interests at play here, and given that the consortium is pushing to get more influence in Debaran, that might be what's going on. But it does seem a little odd. Why would you stir up, Zenithian agitators there? So you're not sure exactly what's going on, but they're clearly being used for something.
Okay.
Does that seem like fair info?
Yeah. What's the time frame like? How long ago did he show up?
Maybe about a couple months ago.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So you guys will be able to gather back together. Is there anybody want to purchase anything else?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like?
I would like some gear that would give me some different ways to take people out. Essentially, knock out, smoke, those kinds of things. EMP, flash, whatever.
So you could get stun grenades.
Okay.
You could get sensor smoke grenades.
Okay.
And these are essentially, once you buy them, you're considered to have a supply. But I can spend darkness points to have you run out of ammo, and then you have to go back to get more. Stun grenades cost 800.
Okay.
And sensor smoke grenades cost 1,000.
Okay, what does sensor smoke grenades do?
Sensor smoke grenades actually get in the way of both ordinary standard vision and any kind of electronic sensors. So once they go out, it is nearly impossible to see through.
All right. And let's see here. Are there any other things that might be nice for a tactical thing? I mean, particularly if we're talking about a corporately financed setup.
Well, you certainly could get a chameleon suit.
What does a chameleon suit do?
It gives you +2 to infiltration.
And how much does that cost?
3,000.
All right.
This is probably just a level 1 mission anyway, Sherry. It's fine.
It'll be great. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Just to tell you, session 1 of Blades in the Dark on the Wednesday, Maria already has a level of trauma.
I trauma out right away in that game, so I can
really?
get that sweet
Okay.
XP. Yeah, the first you should watch the playtest of Vigilantes. The first episode I introduced Flint, and by the end of an hour and a half, I think I traumatized out.
Oh my god!
She did it in 4 minutes, though, so it was pretty spectacular.
Pretty okay,
That's
she beat me, I guess.
It's terrible rolls.
Terrible.
I'm going to pick up some armored clothing as well, and
Okay.
I think a recon probe, which is basically a camera drone.
Perfect. And you have the equipment list, so you can look at that. Yeah.
Wondering, for a combat shield, is that one of those, like, am I carrying around an actual shield, or is it like
I would assume it's like a collapsible thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, is it like I'm picturing? Have you seen Jupiter Ascending, where like he just like hits it and then it becomes a thing? That would be cool.
Yeah, that seems perfect to me.
Okay.
It is heavy when you're using it.
Which means what?
That means it essentially takes up 2 slots on your inventory when you're actually using it.
Okay,
2 lines on your inventory.
Okay, I didn't know that we were playing a Steam game. That's cool. Okay. Did you freeze, lol?
But
Yeah. What'd you say?
I was going to say I'm not worried about it too much, but it does mean that gives me a piece of fiction that I can hit with darkness points.
Oh.
Like you get this heavy shield. Well.
Okay, well, I'll buy one just in case. It's actually kind of cheap and rating 6. Does it stack with my armor then? So would I have rating 9 with it? Okay, that seems wise.
Assuming that you've got sorry, I'm having weird delays here. Assuming that you've got the shield out and in your way would add to your armor, but essentially for just that sort of front attack kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, okay, I'll get it. It's 800 only, and it seems wise. Oh, it says Tech Tier O. Can I buy that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Which is A is the one that we can't get advanced, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right.
No, it's stuff with an asterisk next to it.
That's right. That's the restricted stuff.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. This seems like a good sort of break point. Let's take our break here for 5 minutes, and when we come back, we'll kind of talk about getting back to the ship and heading out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can hear it.
I'm actually still here. Yeah, no, it doesn't buzz anymore. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and thank you for telling me that it isn't buzzing. I appreciate that.
Actually, the sound quality might even be better than it was before.
Awesome. Because now I'm using my crappy $20 headphones. So instead of my very expensive microphone.
It's like you're right next to me.
Okay, I'm going to go take my break now. I desperately need some more coffee. But
Me too.
See you shortly.
Mm-hmm. Which ones are the flechette guns? I'm looking in the book and I can't find them.
I was sort of wondering that too.
Because I'm thinking I should have one of those because there were two bodies that didn't get spaced out. And I know Kef took one of the flechette pistols, but there should be a second one. Unless he's a greedy bastard, then I should be able to have one.
I didn't write down any flechette pistol.
Because that's what they had. They had boarding knives and flechette pistols.
They had boarding needlers.
This is true. Okay.
Oh,
So
that's what the flechette pistols were, though.
Right. Flechette's a slightly different thing, but yeah, I mix up my terminology because it's been a while since I played games with long gun lists.
yes.
Yeah, needlers are kind of like useless, basically, but you have to use them in ships.
So basically, if you have one of those pistols, and you can certainly have one, it's a gun with a bonus die. So you add a die when you roll it. It does 2 damage. It's a short range pistol.
Oh, so it's not even close. It's short.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can shoot across a room or down a corridor, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
The only trouble that it has is that if someone is wearing armor, they don't have to roll their armor dice. It just, all their armor applies.
Oh. That's cool.
Oh, can you say that again? What do you mean?
So, for example, let's say you have that protective suit 3
yeah.
now. If someone shot you with the needler, you wouldn't have to roll the armor dice and look for 6s. It would just, against a needler, it automatically applies.
Gotcha.
So what's the initiative and the crits?
Initiative is a +1 and crit is a 2.
Okay, and so I'm assuming, does the roller... Oh, there's no way to indicate which weapon you're using on your roller, is there? So
No, I don't think so. I think you just have to do it as a bonus. It is essentially extra successes. If you can spend those equal to the crit number, and then you can roll a critical hit.
You're so funny, Lil. Like, we've had extra successes.
Horrible.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but on Paul Beakley's wall, he was talking about Coriolis, and I was like, I was talking about how I was really happy about how the changes that you made, and he was like, I could totally see how that would be much better. And yeah, because I can't imagine if it was like the way that it was before, because we've got 2 successes like 3 times ever or something.
Yeah. I appreciate Beakley because he is a brilliant rules as written guy. I mean, he's brilliant. And his assessments of games after the fact are really sharp. But I can't bring myself to be as rules as written as he is. But I admire that. All right.
Hey, Lowell, I would like a refresher on something.
Sure.
We have our icons. If we want to invoke that icon ability or whatever, what does that entail?
So the ability of the icons, when you do it, I will go back to that section. I want to be absolutely correct on this. Icon talents. They can be used once per session, and it just gives me a darkness point when you use it.
Only once per session. Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And a darkness point.
And a darkness point.
It says you can only pray once for each roll.
Oh, you can pray once for each roll, but actually using your icon talent.
Oh, the icon talent. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that. And don't forget, you also have the group talent, the find a friend. That can be used once per session. So
Call a friend.
call a friend. Use my lifeline.
I'd like to save that for getting to Deberon.
Yes.
But is that as a group, or does each of us have that?
That's as a group.
Okay.
So you suspect you're being watched, monitored. There's probably some discussion about that, some space traffic thing. But we'll leave that, those syndicate gangsters on the table, observing from a distance, and you'll be able to ship out. And Izzy DN has arranged for you to fly along with some convoys. Essentially, that makes it much easier, and it gives you higher priority. You get into a convoy in a group with people, you head towards the solar body, towards where the portal is, which is a spatial construct. There's no physical representation of it. It's just a point in space. You do the
gates are next to the sun?
They're closer to the sun. Yeah, apparently they use the energy of the solar body to work. So you have to head in system to do that. They're not like adjacent to the sun.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting.
And so they gather together multiple ships and kind of share the jump calculations together, and then do the energy to have the ship jump. Now, all of you have to go into stasis while that is going on. But the pilot does the jump calculations. So you will have a couple of jumps. I'm only going to do one jump roll. Okay.
No pressure there.
I don't want to do multiple jumps for the gates. I think since we're doing the transition here, and he's arranged for you to go along. Going along with the convoy gives you 3 extra dice. So what I need you to do is to make a piloting roll with 3 bonus dice there, Yelchin.
Okay.
We also have a blessed ship, which gives us another +1 to pilot.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Bam.
And I was going to, since I'm going on a trip, Yelchin is obviously going to set the chapel to the traveler and pray to the traveler.
Perfect.
Wait, so why is it not doing anything? Come on.
You got it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, you got it the first time. You got a limited success.
Well, I didn't even add anything to it. That's why I thought it was strange. It didn't ask me for anything. I guess I've forgotten how it happens.
Oh, the modifier is up top of the sheet.
Sorry. I got a success anyway, though, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If you want to re-roll with the extra dice, you can do that as well.
You don't have to re-roll. Just roll the additional dice to see if you get another success.
How do you do? But how do you do that? How
just
slash roll 3d6.
46.
Yeah, just the old.
46.
I thought there was going to be like some nifty button for that.
No.
46?
4d6. Okay,
Yeah,
second success. So you do very well. So tell me what you think. If we're watching this on screen, what do you think we see, Yelchin? What is the? Do we see inside the ship the preparations, or do we see the outside and the whatever the gates look like? How would you like to consider that?
So I imagine before he punches it, the last thing is he goes around and he checks to make sure that everybody's locked in, that all the monitors are correct on the sleep chambers, and one last prayer to the traveler, and then he'll sit down, strap himself in, and I imagine that the portals are. We don't have any descriptions of what going through a portal is like, do we?
No, that's why I'm curious.
And why everybody needs to be? Do we know why everybody needs to be?
Because when people go through it, they go insane if they're not knocked unconscious.
So how do the pilots protect themselves?
So when you punch it in, get it set auto, and then I don't know if you've seen The Expanse. They have the thing where people do the gravitic drugs and they get that injection. It's like that.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I guess he does that and gets the injections as we get pushed through it. And I imagine since you're saying they go insane, then I imagine what it is it's sort of a presence thing that maybe you feel like you've just been splattered all over everything. Yeah. Because everything's getting warped on all your senses, and maybe you get flashbacks. Maybe you see your whole life run before you every time you go through a portal.
There is a phrase called "the dark between the stars" that describes the strangeness that's out there, and some people say that that's where it lives, is in those places between the warp jumps, between those portals. And so dragging your life out in front of you seems reasonable, because you're probably the one who has the lightest sleep of anyone. You're probably the one closest into contact with this, besides Ghazi, because he has an opening in his mind to those sort of things.
Right. Yeah.
And you will wake up, do a couple of jumps. What do you suppose the after effects are for you of those stasis drugs?
For me as the pilot?
Yeah, because they're going into like a little chamber.
Right. I expect it's like a really bad hangover.
Okay.
I mean, because it's especially if we're doing multiple jumps in a row while everybody else is out and I'm like going through this. There's probably like at each portal, I imagine we have to cycle through and check everything.
Yeah.
And allow the pilots to recover before we can go through the next one.
And so there's probably a day at each portal before you can move on.
Sure, because we'd have to check all the ship systems. Because again, I don't know what this is meant to be doing physically to the ships, but I imagine some of the electronics could be impacted and whatnot. So you have to check everything before it goes to the machine. Yeah.
All of that, and then they have to recalculate at the next gate based on what the gates like. It's a caravan. It's a big caravan, so these are the safest kinds of jumps. So I don't think you lose anybody in this. And it is a big trade caravan heading out to Dabaran. And eventually you'll get in system, kind of groggily wake up. Dabaran is a red star system. It is a binary system, but the binary star that's attached to it is very, very small. So it's primarily that red star that shines down.
Can I add something real quick, Lowell?
Absolutely.
Just something random and inexplicable. It definitely wasn't there when we started, but I think as I'm like coming out of the stasis pod there at the end, that tablet is just like on my chest, and I'm holding it there with my arms.
Did you put it there?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't there. It was in the chapel when we took off, and I've been in stasis sleep this whole time. I don't know how it got there.
They move in mysterious ways.
You want to make Yelchin sort of creepy and like while we were stasis, you like pop it over your thing and put it in there for safekeeping.
So you will come in with a convoy group of tradesmen. Some of those ships have dropped off at various systems along the way, but there's still a decent sized group here. It is a planet with a high degree of temperature variability. You can see that near the equator, that there's definitely greenery around there, that almost like a band around the equator of the planet. And then you can see there are beyond that rocky plateaus and deserts that go up in different areas, and there are poles, but you don't see any kind of ice caps per se on that. The other thing that you can see from orbit is the city of Lotus, which is the holy city here, and it is next to this enormous gorge. That is the wound. It's just blackness. It's like a Grand Canyon, but it's just torn open and it's dark down inside. The light, the angles, just the nature of it makes it so that it doesn't carry down very far. It is said to be perhaps builder tech that this is created, that there's something down below, but expeditions that have gone down in there have not returned. But the holy city of Lotus lies next to it. This is, of course, a first-comer world. So it is highly venerated, that city there. You know that the planet is ruled over by what are called Dars, the Darcy, Dari. They are the nobility of the planet. They have control of different areas. They're like the emirs and the sultans and so on for this area. Most of them great sort of interfamily conflicts, and they have great oasis domes. While the lowlands have the beautiful greenery and stuff, and they have people down in there, the nobility live outside of that in the highlands, raised up in these oasis domes with water being transported up to them. There are some cities here. but the oasis domes sort of form the backbone of society. And it is primarily a first-comer planet, but the Zenithians have been slowly working to try and garner more influence. And there are the planet does have a native semi-sentient population. There are those alien races that haven't been uplifted, that have their own very primitive societies, and this has one of them, the Desdemodu.
Are they semi-sentient or semi-technological?
They are tool using, and seem to have some kind of spoken language, but no written language. And they are, I think the best way you can describe them is like large bipedal sloths.
Awesome.
They are slow and move around, and they have their own sort of areas of the woodlands that are intended to be protected. They actually have, they look like enormous tapirs with 2 horns on their head, and they have crystalline skin. And they can reach up to 10 meters in height.
10 meters in height?
Yes.
So you don't mess with them. Okay.
Yeah, but they wander about, and they do use tools. I mean, they're able to move things around. They have that basic tool use, and they do talk to one another, though that language has not yet been translated.
What were they called again?
They are called Desdemodu.
Cool.
So there are several stations set up here, orbital space stations. You can see that most of the trade ships that are coming in, that is in fact how you spell it, Sherry. Most of the trade ships that are coming in actually settle in for the long haul at those ports. And you can see that there are shuttlecraft moving back and forth, up and down, that trade vessels, merchant vessels, and things like that don't get landing permission. But you have essentially been given by Izzydien's pull. You have landing permission at Dar Bahri. And when the ship comes down, is it Christo, do you think it's just like a plane coming through the atmosphere, or is there anything, what's that sort of landing procedure do you imagine it looks like for coming in through the atmosphere? Is it just, do we see the standard repulsor rockets, or the gravatics, or any other effect?
Yeah, you always have to have it be loud and noisy, don't you, Fraser? You want to make a dramatic entrance. I'm thinking probably not. I'm thinking probably that we use like repulsors or whatnot to slow it down so that it's not. We probably have some interesting shielding that. Yeah, you already had that.
Yes.
To make it so that it doesn't have a huge impact, especially if I don't know how often the ships, you say they don't usually come through, but so to get through, you probably have to have permission. So you might do it slow and bright, like maybe you draw attention that way without causing a lot of. So maybe you do have the what is it, the aureole, the burn aureole around you, but it's not loud.
And you come down. There is you will see Da Bahri is a big city. There are lots of domes on it. In the distance, you probably can see the glint of other locales, since there is some clustering of the oases near places. And there is a spaceport there. There are other ships, smaller craft. These are clearly ships your size, or personal craft, essentially non-tradesman ships. And you will land, get all of those auto things, and there will be a customs officer that will come up to check in. And this is a planet with a good deal of sun, so he's well tanned here. And he comes in his ceremonial official white and gold robes. Greetings to you, Captain.
Greetings. Thank you for welcoming us to your spaceport.
And well, a good welcome to you. If I may see your declarations.
Oh, of course. Simple travel, wanting to see more of the horizon.
So this is a pleasure trip rather than a business trip?
Yes, I just made it a goal in life at some point to not be so cooped up, to get out there, to really experience the horizon and all the wonders that it has to offer. And I'm just babbling at this guy for a while.
See him look at you. He does that eye on you because you're definitely a Zenithian. Definitely have that air about you. And he will say,
You mean educated and not dirty? Yes.
He does say, while you are present on Debar, you will follow all standard procedures and blessings to the icons. While you're here, there are a certain set of local customs and rules that are provided for you. You're permitted a week's stay before you must check in with customs again. There are other restrictions about travel and so on. Is there someone that you are meeting here that is a contact or a friend?
So when he's okay, so we knew we were coming to a first comer planet, and I do actually have a amulet, whatever, talisman of the merchant. So I think that was like out, and as he's talking about following the rules of the icons, like I'm sort of touching it and nodding, and he still knows I'm a Zenithian, but I'm trying to not be like totally outside or offensive to him. But I will mention that guy, Ralph Domaz. Say that I did have an old friend in the area that I'd heard he'd been in system, and if at all possible, I was trying to meet up with him. But it's really just catching up on old business.
All right, I'll record that name in your declaration. You'll say if your associate Domas has been alerted to your travels, then he will likely be at the port. There are local communication drones that you can call on if you know your friend's message code. And otherwise, I suggest you go to the quarter of brightness. And you can see it's like Zenithian town is sort of what he's suggesting.
You want to go to the tourist district.
Yeah. And when you unload, do you guys have baggage? You have like knapsacks or anything like that? Or standard luggage? What do people see when they see you four walking through the spaceport and onto the streets?
I imagine like a satchel. I think we want to project that we are not saying long to the official, right? So that he's not having to worry about us that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have like the space equivalent of like a 3-day rolling luggage sort of thing.
Okay. Sherry?
I have an exquisite bag filled with exquisite clothing on the top and grenades kind of packed in the...
Maybe I have like or if we're allowed to carry weapons, if he ever looks at me, I'm just like, I'm going hunting later.
Now you have the needler, and
I have well, I don't need to bring the needler, I think, because that's just for space stuff, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'll bring my knife, a throwing knife, my long rifle, and my cricket.
Just that.
Oh, and my shield.
But what are weapon laws around here? What can we carry openly or not?
I think this is probably a place where people are armed, but probably with melee things. Firearms are probably restricted. Though he kind of ignores your long rifle because that's like a musket. Because it has one shot. So he's like, oh, he must be a reenactor or something, you know.
Yep. A reenactor of death.
And he will say, you can find details on hunting licenses and restrictions in your pamphlet there. And you guys can head into town. You do have your friend in every port ability if you want to activate that.
Yeah, it would be nice if we had a fixer friend, like someone who knew how to get information out of the system.
Okay.
So we can track people down. I think that would be really handy since we are strangers here.
Male or female?
Well, it's good to get someone who will sort of, stick to the job, be sensible. So I think female.
Okay. In that case, let me edit this and I'll put a name on her.
And as we're traveling into town, and I'm sort of looking over the brochure pamphlet information, what is the local law that's most likely to get us into trouble, or that's weirdest from the norm?
Certainly, there are restrictions on Zenithian businesses. I mean, there's sort of local stuff, so you don't want to be trading, doing merchant stuff. There are certain areas of the city you don't want to be drinking in at all. That's important. Alcohol is not permitted in certain holy sections of the city, and not supposed to kill the Desdemodu or hunt them, and you're not supposed to approach the wound without going to the Lotus and getting permission to go near there.
Good. So we're only likely to do 2/3 of those.
That is correct. And you will see waiting at the station is your contact, the fixer Hatima. I've put a picture of her in the handouts on roll 20. And she will greet you. Who do you think she knows best of you?
Yelchin.
Yelchin. Hey, honey. How drunk are you?
Hatima, I never drink when I'm flying. You know that.
True. But you're already off the ship, so how many have you had?
Well, I haven't found the bars yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah. How are things? It's been a while.
It has been since that last expedition you were here on.
Yeah, it's been a while. Let's not talk about that.
Fair enough. You must be Captain Ghazi?
Yes, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, forgive me. Let me introduce my friends.
Please.
Introduce, Karen and Kef.
She kind of leans in at Kef and she goes, "Oh, he's pretty."
And he knows it.
Oh, that's sometimes a problem.
Ghazi looks insulted.
And Karen, she kind of nods and she's like that. She seems sophisticated.
She is. She's very serious. She's an accountant, I think, and a negotiator. Which brings us to why we're here. Can we, as old friends, can we pass by the obligatory 3 T's and 3 requests and get right down to it?
Absolutely. Let's go get ourselves off the streets and out of sight. I'll hail a space Uber, and we will head over to my quarters.
I insist on using Space Lift because they treat their employees better.
Okay, fair enough. And that's probably here in the streets is people pulling cabs or smaller gas powered vehicles and things like that. This is definitely a haves and have-nots society. The city has a lot of people who are clearly haven't been able to get jobs out at the various workspaces, don't want to work on the plantations, that kind of thing, and are trying to make ends meet here. But also in Coriolis, there's marks to the icons, and there's temples. There's a big church here. There are temples every block. There are markers every block. There are decorations, handmade things for all of the different icons everywhere around. With particular Dabaran style, they have a very vivid red that comes from the Iron Deserts. And so everything has a kind of a shade of red to color the different icons, with the exception of the faces, which is just kind of a blank space. And she will take you to her essentially workshop meeting place. There are some people hanging around outside. And she's like, yes. Look, come back tomorrow. I'll see if I can get you a job. Just, I have business today. And she'll kind of send them off, though she stops and clearly hands out a couple of tags to them to send them on their way to cover them. And she'll say, come in. So you wanted to know about, sent a note from Orbit about this fellow Dolmez.
Yeah, he's. We're looking for him, and essentially also this other group of people that are traveling that we think he might have gotten tangled up with. Give her the basic details on Baldebek.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look into that.
Be careful; they might be corporate.
Okay. Dolmaz arrived here several weeks ago. I essentially stayed at a standard tourist hostel. From what I've heard, went around the city. His impression was he was checking up on someone, and he headed out towards one of the oases. The Oasis domes, and he hasn't returned.
He must have made himself very visible.
I may have contacts that are Captain Ghazi that, as you say, may be more observant of incoming tourists and opportunities regarding incoming tourists.
It's wise. A tourist-driven economy is a good model to go on.
Exactly. Some tourists are here for recreation. Some tourists are here for other things. So we tend to keep an eye out as to what services we can provide to said tourists.
I'm just saying, to have the information on the top of your head, it's fortuitous.
No, you sent a message down, and it only took a couple of hours for me to pull that together. I work well.
I appreciate efficiency. What Oasis?
She says, I've worked with Yelchin before. I know how much time can be of the essence when he's around.
Yes, it is sort of a countdown to sundown somewhere.
But yes, I can give you some names and places if you want to check up on this Baltabek guy or Domaz. places you want to go that you won't stand out too much. And if you're willing to talk and drop some tags, you can probably get decent information.
Yeah, and what dome was Dolmez heading off to?
I don't have that information. But if you ask around at drivers, I'm sure you could track that down. Or if you want, I can take care of that while you are out looking into things.
That would be helpful. I suppose as a last thing, as a native of the area, and of course an old friend of Yelchin, maybe you have some tips on how not to stand out to the tourist industry.
We've got sort of two choices here. You could try to dress up and past for more elite part of the sort of the entourage that follows behind the various stars, or easier, we could get you some local clothing to blend in a little bit there.
If everybody's so reverent here, would dressing as some priest or something make people not notice us much and stuff?
Possibly. You want to be careful about that, but generally, you should be able to. Circle of Seekers is the church faction that has the most sway here. But they're also the most present, so I would suggest avoiding their symbols because you're likely to get someone coming and asking, about where you're trained and so on.
I feel like trying to slip more seamlessly into the general populace rather than trying to infiltrate higher up society might be more successful.
And she'll go back to a cabinet, and you'll see her pull out these vacuum sealed packages, and she'll bring them out and she'll drop them on the table. She goes, "You look like you're a medium."
Yes.
Okay. And she'll go, "Standard clothing for infiltration." These are mostly for infiltrating digs, but that should allow you to pass otherwise. She kind of pushes the package over to you, Kev.
Oh, thank you.
No shirt.
Kind of waiting for you to get changed.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll just start changing. I'm wondering, do we notice like a change in the like atmosphere? Like Coriolis was pretty sterile. Is here like more like a rainforesty smell thing happening?
Well, one of the things is that in Coriolis, all the smells stay in.
Right.
All the smoke and the animals. I mean, and those filters and things are constantly trying to clear all that out. But there's still, once you get out of the spire, it's all that sort of intense smell and mixed with that air conditioned breeze and Febreze style things. That weird mix of headache-inducing chemicals at times. Here, it is the air. You smell the rain that has come down. You smell the grasslands, the woods, and that all of that kind of rolls in to here. But it's more that you aren't oppressed by all of those scents. That it is open. And I think most of you have been off world a bit, so being here on planet side doesn't trigger anybody's agoraphobia or anything. But she'll say, "Okay, well, I'll go and check on the driver for your friend, and I will leave you to your own devices." Oh, she'll say, "What's your comms code in case I have to send a message drone to you?"
Give her the public key that we use.
Okay, good. And she says, "Here's mine if you need to send me a message." Here's my private one as well, just in case.
Which he gives to Kef, right?
Gives to Kev. In case you need any advice or anything.
And meanwhile, I like try on the shirt and I'm like, it's a little tight.
Oh, is it? Oh, I had to eyeball it, so it'll loosen up.
I'm just still standing
just
right
stretch a little with it.
Stretch a little, yeah. Yeah. I start doing some yoga.
Okay. So she will leave you to it. She'll take you to her outer office, lock the place up, and she will head out. She's given you the essentially a residence inn that you can stay at. She's made those arrangements for you. So big, beautiful city. Very different set of like spice smells here. Like a lot more of the fresh spices, the basil and the cilantro and all of that cooking here, rather than the dried stuff. It's all dried when it comes to the station.
I think as we're like checking into the residence or rooms or wherever we're staying, I'll pull Yelchin aside at some point and say, look, I'm sorry if you're offended earlier in the meeting. I know you, and I know there's a certain reputation you have from your past, from people that know you. And I know that you're more than that. I know that you're smarter than that. There's way more in you than just like your wild nights. But I've had a life of people noticing when you're too special, and I think it's sort of useful sometimes to play into people's expectations, to put them off guard and maybe make them think less of you. So I'm sorry if that offended you at all, but I was just trying to hide some of our assets here.
I think Yelchin looks at you with like a hurt puppy dog look. And it's like, yeah, sure, I understand. It's fine.
But you know I don't really think that of you, right? I mean, I've seen what you're capable of. I've seen the things you know and the connections you make. I just don't want people to take advantage of that or expect that from us. It's nice to have a hidden weapon.
So what you're saying is you're going to treat me like crap in public. It's okay. It's okay.
No, it's just to people that know you. I mean, when it would be I mean, a little.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's great. So you feed me up that way, and yet I'm supposed to be quiet about your secrets, your problems. Yeah, I see the way this relationship's working. That's fine. You need anything else from me now, Gazi?
No, no.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go clean up and see if any of my old archaeological friends are around.
Oh, that went well.
So you can hit the streets, Yelchin, Kieran, Kef. You're kind of drinking tea in the essentially the lobby of this hotel as that little scene goes on. Does that seem reasonable? And you will hear, Kieran, Kef.
I turn very slowly, and
you'll
probably
see
some
this.
of the tea slides up.
You will see this woman step over to the table and sits down as if, oh, what an amazing coincidence that I should run into you here. And you will see your not friend, Nefrit Garud from the Broadcast Corporation.
What?
She sits down. What brings you to Tabaran?
The dark points go down.
I think Kier says, no, what brings you to Barond? You're the one who knows what's notable.
Well, I do. And of course, it's just hearing rumors, interesting things about troubleshooters being sent by highly placed people to a city that are very strange, far away. So I always try to stay one step ahead of things. So maybe you want to share with me what you're doing here.
I think Kef, who usually is out front, is like behind Kira now. It's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do.
And Karen kind of stops and she goes, oh, I'm so disappointed. I thought you might know something about what was going on here.
Oh, you want to shut her down?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's cold.
Let's do. I think that's probably a manipulation roll.
Okay.
That seem fair?
Yes, sure. Of course. It's totally fair.
Okay.
It's just okay.
I'll help.
Hey, limited. Oh, good. If with a help, then I'll roll the additional. Maybe I'll do better. Yes.
2 successes. So you do shut her down. She's like, see, that's the way we're going to play that. Well, I'll just keep an eye out on things then, and maybe I'll find out why EZDN hired you. Of course, it wouldn't be good if anybody got word out that you were hired by a Zenithian to come here, but that's neither here nor there. She'll back off.
Can we like make sure that our contact who notices everyone who comes and goes notices her as well?
Oh, yeah, I think actually that's a good thing is that with your 2 successes, you can kind of shut her down and put her name into your contact's ear.
Yeah, essentially so that everyone gets in the way to ask her questions and treat her like a super tourist.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
You must be here to pick berries at the berry farm.
This is your nemesis reporter. That's how she knows.
It's excellent.
Yeah. So then let's look at we can kind of abstract this out. What I usually do is you can tell me how you're investigating, and we'll make a roll and we'll generate questions that you can answer, sort of discern reality style, in the investigation here. Does that seem like a good way to do that? So who wants to start? I would ask that probably Yelchin or Ghazi should probably start.
Well, I think Yelchin sort of stormed off, but he has a plan that's going to link with his desire to drink now after all of this.
Okay.
Which is he's going to go. Since this is an archaeological site, there are probably places like where dig workers go, and it's usually, if there's more than just the wound, which I would assume there would be.
Oh yeah, there's lots of.
Especially since there were like recent vids that were showing like archaeological stuff here, so that's all the rage probably, and probably a lot of rich people just come here to sort of dip their fingers and pretend they're doing archaeology. But so then there would be workers that you could hire, and they would, that's intermittent work, and so they probably have bars that they go to and stuff like that. And Yelchin would go to one of those bars and start, buying people drinks and drinking himself to find information about where Dumas and the name is slipping of the kid, where they would be.
Oh, that's Gulshan.
Gulshan and the Breaker of Chains. See if anybody has heard about them. Because after a few drinks, people talk. People might recognize me as like one of the few survivors from the wound digs. But...
Oh yeah, they're sort of legendary in that since almost no one comes back up. So tell me, is this observation by kind of getting people drinks and listening to what's being said? Is this manipulation? Like really leaning in and working on someone, or is this culture to kind of blend in and get the response? What do you think it's going to be?
They're both empathy. I think it's probably manipulation.
Okay.
I don't think I'm playing to like the cultural things. I think unless you're looking at archaeology, and diggers being like a subculture or whatnot, which it could be. But
Yeah,
yeah,
excavators. I think there'd be a culture there, but I'm good either way.
Well, we could do that because I could play that up and play up the reputation, I guess, and make it a culture move instead of a manipulation. Because I'm not trying to push too hard.
Sure.
Unless I really fail my role, I guess.
That's right.
Okay, I should probably decide who I prayed to today before I came out. So, because I'm, a first comer that does pray on a regular basis. Probably the dancer.
You can always set it after you do your first roll for the day. I don't care about that.
I'll just say the dancer because I think that's the primary one that Yelchin's concerned with. Okay, so it's just a straight roll. Just hit the button and pray.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
This time. That was nice.
That's a good success.
Wow. Oh, wait, it's a limited. Oh, wait.
It's 2 successes, which I consider a good success in this game.
Yeah, that would.
Now, mind you, you could certainly push that roll and roll again to see if you could get another success, get critical.
So remind me how I do that in Roll20 again. I could also just. That means that. So I guess I'd say. So I start getting good information and thinking, by the dancer, this is going well. I'll have another drink. And so how would I do that? Just add.
So because you got 2 successes,
Mm-hmm.
then and you prayed to the dancer,
Mm-hmm.
you would just roll your straight roll again because it'd be down 2 plus up 2. So.
Do I do that, or do I just roll the ones that didn't succeed?
Well, here's the thing: is so down 2, up 2. So you've had 4 dice originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those became successes. So now you're re-rolling 2 dice, but you're also getting the bonus 2 dice from
that's
the dancer. So it evens out. So you can just hit the straight roll again. We'll see what you get.
I don't know if the dancer would play into this though. That was just who I was. So the dancer's combat or not? Oh, it's relationships, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I guess it does work.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that again. Got another one.
Oh, yeah. Are you here with Hafsa Al Zaidi's crew?
Do we know that name?
No, you're like, who the hell is that?
Yeah, we were thinking of meeting up with them. I heard about them, but I don't know where they are.
Well, she took her team. A little irritating because she brought in her own specialists. She hired some locals, but she got a whole team there. But I heard, I don't know the details, but I heard that she managed to get in with the Dar. Hang on a second. Dar Yagar. And Yagar's not been has been resistant to letting archaeologists on his land, but she managed to sweet talk him. I don't know what the deal is on that, but she was waiting around in town for a while, headed out, and yeah, she's got some serious money behind her, is my sense.
Sweet. Sounds like if there's enough money, then there's always room for another person on the dig.
Oh, I don't know him personally, but I know there was a guy, an outsider that's got stayed behind in town. That maybe he would know how to get in on her stuff.
Oh, great. Do you have his contact information?
No, but he hangs out at the Last Chariot.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. Tell me. I heard that you saw something down there.
And I think Yelchin he's been trying to he's been dodging all these questions all evening, but I guess he feels at this point he can't really dodge it. He says, Honestly, I don't remember much. I got hit by something, and my friend got me out. So we had just found our sensory
what?
unit had indicated something, and we were approaching it when we were attacked by something. And my friend got us out, but he died.
Well, blessed to the icons that the wound did not claim another.
Yes, thanks.
Let's cut to Ghazi. Ghazi, what are you doing? What are you investigating? What are you looking into? And my general plan for investigations is, as I've done in other games, is that you have the information that he's gained.
Yeah, because I think Yelchin would transmit the information and sign it, sincerely, you're drunk or something like that, and go get another drink. And that's sent specifically to Ghazi.
So, yeah, I'm gonna try and dig around online, basically, on this planet, and track down like gossip or news stories or things that might be related to the breakers of chains, and either what they've been doing here or like, oh my god, that must be their target, sort of things.
Data Jin.
So many tabs.
Oh my god, what?
Ha! Take that, dice.
Oh yeah, I forgot I got a darkness point. Now, that's a really good roll, but do you want to go for a critical?
Do it. We want the journalists to come after us.
I mean, I definitely want to go for the critical. I mean, I'm so close.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What
You know
could
how it
go
works.
wrong?
Yeah.
And that's not my guy. That's just some data gen thing.
Oh my god!
Ha!
You will intercept a police report. The authority, the local authority here, are called the Latifs. They are the police. There are some that are publicly employed, but a lot of them are in private service to the different DARs and the Oasis cities. And you will see a report that Dar Yadgar, there was an attempted terrorist attack against the Dar by a group of Zenithian supremacists who had come in from off-planet and attempted to essentially destroy one of the holy sites that he has, and they were all captured. A couple of them are still apparently wandering out in the desert and will certainly perish there. But he was saved by the timely intervention of a foreign archaeologist who spotted the telltale signs of this terrorist attack and saved the Yadgar site from destruction.
How fortuitous that was.
Yes, and of course you will get the name, and it is Hafsa El Zaidi.
And that's the convenient archaeologist?
That is the convenient archaeologist. And I have a picture of her, which I will show. There's in the picture down on handouts. Does that seem like fair info for a critical?
And this is the same one from Yelchin's thing? I think you said a different last name before.
Hafsa El Zaidi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yes.
Okay. Then let's come to Kieran.
All right. we got their means and the stuff, and we do have to find the boy. But I think the thing that might be most helpful to us is tracking back which corporate is actually backing all of this, because I'm guessing that she doesn't have a agitator typically on her staff. So that sounds like that's all backed and this has been set up. So I'm going to try to follow the money. I've got lots of different ties now with this person, with essentially where how the terrorist organization group would have come through and gone to that oasis with the Dayagar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to essentially look through those things. So
what do you think is the appropriate skill for doing that?
see, the thing that I hate is that infiltration is supposedly an agility skill, whereas to me, infiltration is getting into anything, right? So I guess it would have to be, let's see here, probably manipulation.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
That seems perfect to me.
Okay. All right.
Let's have you make that roll.
Okay. So I got a limited success.
Are you happy with that?
You've got so many darkness points at this point. I think it could just blow the entire planet that we're on up. So I'm going to say I'm happy with that. Yes.
But do the darkness points carry over from session to session?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks to you, kind of tracking back, that kind of checking the shipping arrivals and things like that, and you can kind of go through the things, talk to people, and get that, and kind of check off. Okay, this is a consortium ship that's working with this and this. There are a couple of ships from the Corporation Exeter, and they don't have any real business contacts here. But they've been in orbit for a while, doing sort of, they brought some trade goods, and they've been around, and they've shifted berth between the different stations, but they are still there, and it feels out of place and odd.
And what is their typical business sets of interests? Like
they're generally into certain kinds of industrial processes and things like that. Let me get the precise description here for Exeter. And they're particularly known for reactors, cruises, tourism. But like any of the consortium corporations, they go where there's opportunities.
All right. All righty. So we've got that, and we know that those guys are kind of sitting out there. Now, this is the kind of thing that actually would rile up the Deberon people, though, right? They're actually trying to keep that in there.
If there's any proof, yes.
Okay, so that's it. Is that might give us some help if we can do a little tie back to that. Essentially, just tie them up.
Okay.
With inquiries.
Perfect. Kef, what about you?
Maybe I'll be trying to do that then. Tie them up.
Tie them up in ink. Well, you don't have any proof yet on that stuff.
It's proof. We just disperse some gossip.
Okay. So yeah, you're pretty good at manipulation, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll wait then. But
what do you want to do?
You were saying
to ask about things. You could track down this guy who's associated with the archaeologist. You could do follow up with your contact. What do you want to do?
Yeah, maybe well, I imagine the kid sounds really stupid and sounds like he would be maybe spending his money pretty frivolously or making waves, especially if this is like a really religious place. They were kind of like they would have probably made some impression somewhere, caused some problems. So maybe something like that, like maybe try to find the subculture where the kid was in, or try to find where the kid was throwing his money around.
Oh, I actually think that you don't even need to roll for that, given the critical that Ghazi got. That you can track back that they arrived. They tried to play it low key. This group of Zenithians, and they tried to blend in, and then they hired a grav car and headed out. And that was the last anybody's seen with them until they got the bulletin that they've been arrested. And you kind of clearly, confirmed that, oh yeah, it's them that got picked up.
Okay.
There were 8 kids.
8 of them.
Plus, they described there being an older person with them. And of those, 6 of them were arrested at Daryadgar.
Oh, so 2 of them got arrested somewhere else?
No, 2 of them, including your target, are not listed as arrested.
There were something about them wandering through the desert, surely to die. But you had talked about these are like private police forces, so can we assume they're being held on Yagar's land at the moment?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, so what do people want to do then? What angle do you want to go with next?
We probably kind of need to find where the kid that we're looking for is. If he's one that didn't get arrested, it means he's out in the wilds.
If we can just pluck him out of the desert, like, we don't have to worry about the rest of this complicated mess.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
What about the agent? Is the agent with them or not?
That would be the older person, maybe, that was with them?
I'm guessing
Or
the
the
older
educator.
person is Baltabek.
Yeah.
The agent, we still haven't heard anything more about.
Okay.
So it could be the agent with the son out in the desert? We don't know. I mean, if we find the names of the captives, we'll know.
They have not released those, but you've got the numbers.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to find that then. The list of the captors. I don't know if
no, actually, you did get the list. Now, I take that back because I said that the 2 of them weren't on the list. So you got the list of the 6.
Okay.
Which 2 aren't on the list? Sorry.
It'd be Goshan and Spoiled Brat number 2.
Number 2. Nice.
So 2 of the kids didn't go on the list.
Didn't get captured, yes.
Okay.
I hear the number 2 family is also quite wealthy.
Nice. We could just ransom the kid. Okay, so we need to pinpoint where these kids are, basically, and then just grab them. So is there any kind of technology like that? Like a sat nav thing?
They don't have satellite, that kind of communications or any of that kind of stuff. So you probably need to hire local guides to search the area around the oasis.
Okay. Do you think that is good, everybody? I say over comms. Am I really cool one behind my ear?
Yeah, we definitely need to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
How much is it to hire guides?
Also, stop telling us where your comm link is. We know.
It's always nice to be reminded.
Yeah, I think that's not a problem. Your contact there, Hatima, will come back and she will say, it looks to me like the person that you are trying to find, Damaz, he rented a car and apparently was headed out to Daryadgar. to
Okay.
that Oasis Dome.
Okay, so interesting.
When did he rent that? Was it before like the attack and arrest, and when he could have found out information like that, or after?
It looks like just shortly after that arrest and the info came through, he headed out there.
Yeah, so he was like, "Oh shit!"
So he's probably got the same thought we did of if we can just go find him out in the desert.
So here's the thing: can that rental place give us the tracking thing for his car, and then we can just find him?
If it's Uber, it can. If it's Lyft, it won't.
Nice.
They go, oh no, the car's back here.
Huh.
Huh?
So he left and he returned.
No, he did not. No, the car was dropped off at Gar, the vehicle, and was returned as standard. We had a send back. Came with one of the caravans.
Couldn't have been that easy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, at least we know we can head there then. And so, I wonder, could we use our contact? Could she trace the money that he used, or the card or whatever that he used to rent the thing, to see if he's procured anything else out there?
She goes, He goes, interconnected financial records? Oh, I like this one. He's cute and funny.
Okay. All right.
She goes, the only people who use transacts here are the DARs and the upper class people. Everybody else pays in tags or barter.
Okay. Well, I guess let's go to that place then and sniff the trail from there, I guess.
Does that seem fair?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to me like we've got an objective on the table heading to Dar Yadgar. That seems like a clear arrow here with some other threads that have not been tied up, but we'll come back to that. But I think you guys probably want experience points, right?
Experience is good.
To maybe develop a new talent.
Oh yeah, is there a talent that's like find the person you're looking for? I'll take that one.
Yeah, there is.
Clairvoyance, yeah.
Okay, well, whatever.
Okay, so let me get you to the experience page.
Maybe as you get closer to the wound, your mystical power starts to.
Well, there's that. Or the other thing is, I was going to say, you could have the end of scene cliffhanger could be that Yelchin is basically like bleary-eyed and sort of almost ready to pass out in the bar, and then what's her name, the journalist, sits down across from him, Nurfreet Garud.
Hey, how are you doing,
Yeah.
Yelchin?
and that could be like scene blanks out.
Oh, I like that. I'll give you a point for that because I dig that.
Okay.
Did you participate in the session? If so, you get an experience point.
I'm pretty sure.
Yay!
Sherry, did you overcome a difficult challenge to help your crew?
I did get rid of the reporter, at least for a half an hour. So.
And you
Good
got the money
point.
trail.
Yeah.
Got the money trail. Yeah, that was okay.
Did you put yourself or your crew at risk because of your personal problem?
I didn't put them at risk because of my personal problem.
But we got to see the personal problem. So I'm actually, just because we're doing short run, I like that we had it on stage. So I'll give you a point for that.
I will take that point.
Yeah, you certainly worked your way out of it. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
Did you learn something else, something new about yourself or another PC?
That's a good question. Let's see here.
You didn't realize that Yelchin had been on the barn before.
It's true.
That's very true. So I'd learned that. I think I also learned that that I took her a lot more practical in the sense of, okay, we need grenades. That was a kind of, yeah, I'm not messing around with this. So sort of willing to take those, how do you say, particularly gauche actions in order to survive.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
You know, Ghazi is just like totally in a bubble of certainty, and there's There is no risk to him at this point.
I
There will
actually
be coming
think
up.
you spent $1,800 because you knew this mission is going to go pear-shaped, even though Ghazi was like, it's all going to be fine. I think that's a sacrifice.
All
It's
right.
going to be a cool mission, guys. Look, I bought a drone.
Did you act in accordance with your icon?
Let's see. My icon is the faceless, and I think that in some ways, yeah, she did the blend in with her her fiance, and she kind of just keeps an eye out right now with all of these things. She hasn't been like the negotiator face person or anything like that, or bossing anyone around.
That sounds good to me. Yelchin, did you overcome a difficult challenge?
I don't know. Piloting, was that difficult? I don't think that was particularly difficult.
I think you went to the bar. We had a critical success there of you going drunkenly in.
Yeah, schmoozing. I did a good schmooze job.
Yeah, because that was good. That was a brilliant little piece there.
And it, even in character, you went in there knowing that it was sort of your weakness point, but intentionally swerving into your weakness to try and get information out of it. It was a gamble.
And I think that means that you'll get an experience point for the next part, which is put yourself at risk because of your personal problem.
Oh yeah, that was all over the place this time.
Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
Oh, I learned something about Ghazi. He's willing to sell me out publicly any chance he gets. That was.
He feels bad about it, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a point. Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
My buddy was still set at Kef, so I don't think I did this time around.
Okay. Did you act in accordance with your icon?
Relationships? Yeah. I mean, my dancer's my icon, so yeah, if it's all about the relationships and the interactions, then yes, I'd say I did.
That looks good. Fraser, did you overcome a difficult challenge to help your crew?
I don't think so. I just helped with manipulating.
You bought a bunch of stuff.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's...
I bought some gear, yeah.
Yeah.
You overcame the temptation to sell your own body parts.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. I did want to sell my body parts.
Did you put yourself or your crew at risk because of your personal problem?
No, I didn't take...
I think your personal problem ought to be addicted to augmentations.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is your problem?
My problem is that I have a dark secret. I'm an envoy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take him. I keep refusing the loan because I know that I'll get pursued. Does that count?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. We made that, and you specifically talked about that. So, did you learn something about yourself or another PC?
I learned stuff about Yelchin. I learned a little bit about Kieran. It might have been the first time that I found out that she has the fiance that was overbearing and stuff.
I think we can go with that. Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
I don't think so. I helped my PC buddy Kieran, but I think that's pretty normal. Just letting it die.
Did you act in accordance with your icon?
The judge. I don't think so. I think I get judgy when I get shooty. So. Okay. Yeah, when we find the kid, maybe I'll get judgy.
That seems fair to me. Ghazi, did you overcome a difficult challenge to help your crew?
I had tracked down all that stuff about the archaeologist.
Oh yeah. Give you a point. Did you put yourself or your crew at risk because of your personal problem?
I don't think they came up on screen, or maybe not even off this time. At least they weren't a part of things.
Yeah, there were some hints about that.
Everybody certainly knows my name.
Yes. Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
Yeah, I think that whole thing with Yelchin was, I think it fit in with both of those, actually.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
Sacrifice my relationship with him. It was Yelchin.
There you go. And do you think you acted in accordance with your icon?
Yes, because while I may not have been playing the merchant today, I mean, what is the merchant without the gullible rube who gets taken advantage of?
There
See,
is that.
sometimes you just have to play the other side.
You risked it in that discussion with Izzy DN. So yeah,
I tried real hard.
Yep. If you have 5 points, you can hang on to that, or you can buy a skill level or buy a new talent.
I've got the XP for a new talent, so I could actually get the a mystic power.
You could get that mystic power.
Do it.
Yeah, but I guess the question is, so what's on and off the table? Anything off the table?
I would ask.
Patrick has.
Yeah, I would say anything Patrick doesn't have, or anything that Patrick is like, oh, I really want that for my character.
Mm-hmm.
The ones I really like are the more mental ones. So like I'm thinking about picking up mind reading at some point. If you want to go like precog and understanding, I think that's certainly fine. I think that artificer one would be neat for you too. But I think either the prediction or premonition would be neat. Those are the sort of ones you were talking about last time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem cool with you?
Yeah, I'll if it's okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah, absolutely, please. Yeah.
I took combat veteran.
Okay. You are definitely going to go first, and you are definitely going to tear them up.
Well,
Okay.
maybe. We'll see how I roll.
I took skills because I know how these dice are. So with another die in manipulation and a die in ranged combat, so that when I throw a grenade, it might actually go where I want it to.
Okay. I'm going to spend a couple darkness points.
Why?
We'll cut to a shot of the bar, and we will see the last chariot, and we will see this guy slide into the booth, this excavator person, and he says, "There's some outsiders, new people, just arrived, asking a lot of questions. They're asking about Hafsa." And the camera will pan over to Baltabek sitting across, and he'll go, "Okay, thank you.
Which
I
was
will."
Who was Baltabek again?
Baltabek's the agitator from the cell, the guy who kind of pushed them all to come here. He is at the last chariot, and he is now aware of your presence.
Boo.
Boo. And that's where we'll end.
Nice. And also, happy birthday, Patrick.
Thank you.
I forgot it was your birthday.
Yep. This is my birthday game.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Do you have other birthday games today, or are you on a more reduced diet?
We'll see. Probably not today, but we're going to Colombia to visit with our friends Bobby and Tia and hang out with them for a couple days.
Oh, nice.
Probably
Nice.
play a game of Headspace somewhere in there, and we're also going to an escape room.
Oh, an
Neat.
escape room. Very cool.
Sweet. Nice.
I haven't done one of those, but I am as shitty as hell with puzzles. Puzzles are my bane.
I did one before, and it was really fun. And you do have to keep in mind they're geared towards general public, so most of them aren't like Sherlock Holmes level.
Okay.
But it was a really fun experience. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm going to stop the recording, and we'll take up right here next time, and get this solved out, and then get you hopefully on the road to Algol, so we can see there as well, is my hope. So just to lay out my GM agenda for you.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Stop the broadcast.